Good afternoon, everyone. I hope the Z monster hasn't get you yet. So if it is, feel free to stand up. And for today's, my presentation here is, I've actually diluted some of the stuff because they say that, it's for SME, SMB. So my purpose here is not to make it too complicated and yet, help you all to understand. And I have to thank this morning's speakers because they helped me to explain many of the terms. So my purpose is not to explain the term, and I also want to, just at the legal aspect. So again, I won't touch the legal aspect, so I'm very heng. If I started at about 10 a.m., then probably have to explain a lot of terms. So, so I will not do so. So the purpose today, I hope you can get away is, okay, from an organization perspective, how can we protect ourselves? Now, how would I recommend it? Again, here is my recommendation is based on my organization. So if I work with StarHub previously, then I would recommend certain ways. If I work with MOH Holding, I would recommend another way of doing, and same way for Farrer Park. But some of the recommendation here is about the same. Then the next one here is, now, should all else fail, and you cannot hack, then what do? Right? So you hear about the CCARE, you're talking about the containment, things like that. What is containment, right? How do we go about in, reacting to it? Of course, the best medicine is actually preventive. I'm from healthcare, so I think preventive medicine is still better than the treatment. So without ado, let's go to the next one. So if you look at some of these charts here, right, if you notice that generally we find that, I believe you all can, when you look at these numbers, I don't think these numbers are far from what you are thinking, right? So I will not go too far into it. Now, the thing here is, okay, this is interesting because we are talking about whether you want to spend money on or investment in the information security. So a lot of organizations, in fact, half of them probably just say, I do not, right? I don't think my budget is enough to have a strong IT security posture. Then, of course, if you look at question 6, which is to the right, if you look at it, almost 50% of them say that they have an IT budget that's dedicated to the IT security activities, right? But then if you look at the percentage, it's from 5% to 10%. Now, so if your IT budget is about $1 million, which means your CAPEX and OPEX, what it also means, let's say we push it to the extreme, is about 100,000 per year that you use to secure your IT system. So the question here is it enough? Is it not enough? So that is not for me to answer because, again, it depends on what kind of business you are in. Then you look at question number 7, right? Does your organization have an in-house expertise? And 56% they say, no, I do not have. So again, it's very consistent that a lot of SME, SMBs do not have the luxury of having a CISO, right? Chief Information Security Officer or head of IT. Now, who can be your next better person besides your, to do this job? Do you have any questions, answers? Who's the best person within your IT organization that can help you out here? Any answer? Okay. If you ask me, I'll probably say my head of infrastructure, right? My network, the guys that does my network, right? These are the best person that that's your next best friend. So later I tell you why. So I'm rushing a bit because I'm given 20 minutes. All right, so this is the balancing thing, right? So on the right side, you have your cost constraint as usual. Your CEO, your CFO, your financial controller, or your head department say, we have to look at CAPEX, we have to look at the OPEX, we look at the P&L. But the question here is this, is cybersecurity and insurance? Do you consider, within your organization, do you think that cybersecurity is insurance? I was asked this question many years ago, in fact, a decade ago, they say, is it an insurance? Maybe in the old days, I might say, yeah, kind of. But then as it gets more and more complicated, where the attack is becoming more and more comprehensive and more lethal, I might say no. Now I probably tell you cybersecurity investment is actually a cost of doing your business. A cost. This is not optional. Optional, those days are gone. When you have very little viruses. Because the nature of attacks nowadays is very little, right? Then for the left side here is, are you prepared? If you invest less on info security, the question here is, are you prepared to lose your information assets? your branding, your reputation, right? Stakeholders' confidence. So we are looking at what? You're compromising your partners, probably your network, your customers' information. Of course, the authorities will sometimes come looking for you and just say, probably like, something has happened or had happened, right? So what's going on? The other thing here is, of course, you have your revenue loss. Now, in a telco, every day, let's say if the business has been disrupted and we can't bill, the loss, the potential loss is almost to about $300,000 to $400,000 per day. This is talking about I'm unable to bill, you all can't pay me on time, and I don't have the interest. I mean, I can't collect interest on that. That's almost 300,000. But these numbers are old numbers, all right? So don't go back to StarHub and just say, well, these are your, your numbers. Is not. And of course, you have your property and information losses. And all this amount to, okay, you're a victim of information gathering, your losses, your data theft, people come in and steal your data, business disruption, right, when your systems goes down, and financial losses, hacktivism, all right, trying to pronounce that, and espionage, industrial espionage. For all you know here is they might steal your data so that they can use it against your supplier, or it could be use it against your customer. Don't forget, when your information is, or your infrastructure has been hacked, it doesn't mean it's only affecting you. It can affect downstream, sites to the site, your partners, your customers. They are all affected in some way or another. So what do we have here, right? We have info gathering, so data theft and all the stuff on the left, which I spoke about. And then on the right side, by now, I'm sure you hear some of the common cyber threats. You're looking at ransomware, malware, website defacement, phishing, spear phishing, command and control, C&C, which is also denial of, distributed denial of services, advanced persistent threats, and insider threats. Now, let me talk just a bit on the C&C and denial of services. In the old days, your attacks is this way. The moment when they come in, you will know. It's something like they come in, smash, and grab whatever that they could. Those were in the old days. But nowadays, what they do here is, they will come in here silently, very stealthily, stay in your network, and tengok, meaning what? I watch. Right? And they will not grab straight away. They will not smash anything. They will keep it as quiet as possible. Right now, based on FireEye, there's this research. They were saying that the dwelling time for this adversary within your network is about, before detection for external, it's about 108 days. No, wrong. That is US, okay? America. Asia is 128 days. What it means here is that for 128 days, they have been staying inside your network and sniffing around without you discovering for 128 days. Internal threat, I think they were looking at about 80 days. That means the attack came from internal, right? And it takes on average 80 days. In the old days, if you talk about this 2 years ago, probably you're looking at about, for external threat, you could be about 150 days. Now it has dropped, so things are getting better, hopefully in the longer term, right, where this dwell time gets lesser and lesser. Okay, please remember that. The attacks is no longer the same. So if you look at all this, at the end of the day, again, it affects it, information gathering, data theft, business disruption, financial hacktivism, espionage, right? So the question here is, how do we protect ourselves? What is it out there? So this morning you heard a lot. You heard about darktrace. You heard from M1, right? Of course, you have the standard, what you call the antivirus. Now, the first thing we look at is defense in depth. So defense in depth could be, your protection at the network layer, server layer, and desktop layer. And then there was one CEO who asked me, James, you have been protecting your network, server, and desktop. Isn't that this is like a case of putting a prophylactic on top of another prophylactic, another one, so that make sure that you're protected. I said, well, you know what? That's right. You just have protection upon the protection. Just in case one breaks, the other one will not break, hopefully. Okay, you have regular backup, best practices, and education. Let me go to individually one of them. Let's look at defense in depth. What does it mean? Now, so what you do here is that, okay, so you see the round thing here, that's your data, right? Defense in depth, what it means is you have several things. One is the use of common sense. You know, generally, you get users use your common sense, of course, through education as well. Second, we look at intrusion detection system. Then the next one is a firewall, which is at the what you call network layer. And then you get anti-malware within the network. Instead of could be looking at behavior. You got antivirus, we could be looking at the what do you call the devices, the server as well, right? And of course, your OS, operating system, what does it mean? It means that you have to patch your operating systems. All right, so you're talking about common sense, behavior, connection. Then the other side, you're looking at the various ways of doing. So this is what we call defense in depth. So imagine, what do you call? Attacker come in, they try different ways of doing it. Hopefully hopefully that it will be repelled. But having said that, they'll never go away. So you can see the image of the attacker. I think the resolution not very good. So the attacker is always in the background. It will never go away. You can repel them once, but they will always be there. Am I going too fast? Are you okay with that, with the speed? You okay, everyone? Yes? You want me to continue at this speed? Come on, work with me here. Don't sleep. Okay? All right, I will show you something. I'll show you something later that will make you laugh. I guarantee you. You don't laugh, I think you're very strange. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about backups, right? We keep hearing about backups. Then we hear about backup regime. What is a backup regime, right? Now, if you look to the left, you're looking at daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. That's how a backup regime is. That means on a daily basis, you back up your system. Then after that, on a weekly, you back up your system, but you keep one of your weekly tape to one side, keep it there. Then you back up your monthly, you keep it put it aside, and then your yearly, you put it aside. So what it means that you essentially have a lot of, either you have a lot of tapes, or you need a lot of storage system. But the thing here is, this is very important. If you look to the right side, what it also means is that backup ensure use against the business disruption. What are they? It could be ransomware, right? Or when your system crashes. So the backup is not just for your ransomware, right? And then you also insured against your data losses. And with that, with the backup, you can restore from the latest, right? But the thing here is, the moment when you are being attacked, a ransomware or the system crashes, chances is that when you restore your data, there will be some amount of data loss. Because your data, what you call loss is, as good as the last backup. Meaning here is that your last backup is at noon, or right now at 2 p.m. If you restore it, probably you lose 2 hours of data. All right? But with cheaper, disk, right? Probably people do more near real-time backup. But that costs a lot. Okay, this one is coming. Okay, what is this? This is definitely not Superman's underwear. All right, so what I'm going to do here is based on an average person's hygiene regime. All right, this, it is nothing to do with SAF. Who is from SAF, Singapore Armed Forces last time, still serving? Are you all? Anybody? None of you are Singaporean. You're kidding me, lah. Okay, I got 5 more minutes, so I better go with this. All right, treat your passwords like your underpants underwear. Why? Change them often. The other one, don't leave them lying around. Okay? And don't share them. All right? So your passwords, you really treat them like underwear. That's why I say don't follow the Singapore Armed Forces. Why? In a field camp, they teach you, take it out, flip the other way, wear it, and then you flip. So that you can last one for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. One pair for 4 days. Then by the time your field camp is over. But also, you forgot something. You got disposable one. Okay, now I have to give credit to this very innovative company. All right? And it's Shell. Can you give them a clap, I think, even if they're not here? I thought this is very, very good. And this was actually highlighted to me by my manager. We are in a chat group, and then I think it's from one of the Indonesian outlets. So I thought it's very brilliant. When I saw it, I love it. Not the underwear, but the concept. Okay, so of course, then patches. I want to quickly go past this because I want to reach another point. All right, you have to patch your Windows. And of course, we're talking about the user access rights, so about role-based, and then you're having to review it on a regular basis. If people leave, make sure you delete them and things like that, right? Okay, then after that, then we have, 70% of the security are usually due to people. Remember, this morning we talked about people, process, and technology. I've been working for 20 over years in the IT industry, and I can seriously tell you, people is the most difficult. And the process is the most difficult as well. Technology is very easy to me, right? The question is the people, whether, whether they create problems for you, whether they make a system implementation easy, it's all about people. Oops. Okay, this one shows a bit of the kind of security awareness training in my office, right? Let's say I click on that one, then we talk about data protection and destruction. And so there is this is a hosted service, so if you all are interested in having user awareness training, so you can actually subscribe online. In the olden days, about 15 years ago, it was very difficult. I had to do it in-house. But now there are a lot of organizations doing that. So security awareness is something very, very important, so don't underestimate that. Now, so I'll just put it this way. All right, this one, I believe this slide will be available to you, so I will not go through it. So from the bottom up, you'll probably use username, password, antivirus, user awareness. Then after that, I'll probably go in and look at two-factor authentication, right? Look at firewall, then look at system patching, the backups, regular reviews and audits, and at the end is you're looking at intrusion detection system as well as anti-malware. All right, so these are the kind of possible investment you can put in, whether is it on-premise, some of them, or is it in the cloud. All right, so this is how I would have done it. Now, if all else fail, when you attack, you thought you're at the end, you saw light at the end of the tunnel. It's not like actually you thought you have gone to somewhere. But you know what? You have been attacked. Right? Your life just flashes before your life. I mean, your eyes. But you know what? You're still alive. So not so easy. You can't run away. You just have to deal with the cyber attack. Now, how do you do about it? So I've been attacked about 2-3 times. So this is based on experience on how I would react to it. So it's not theory. And I guarantee you it's workable. It works all the time. Not that I love it. I always see the light. All right, so once it gets detected, okay, I'm so sorry. If you look at the top, you look at operations, the top line, the blue, I will talk about operations, business operations, then IT infrastructure, IT info security, cybersec vendor, these are your partners that are helping you. Then you have your management and authorities. Now, let's say assuming you're attacked, right? So by this time when they know there are a lot of things going on, the call is going to help desk. The first thing you got to do, very quickly, you look at timing to your left. Within 15 minutes to 45 minutes, you must identify the source, the cause and the source, right? Then after that, you isolate and containment. What is isolation and containment? Very easy. Go down there. If there's the offending PC or desktop, straight away you unplug it. Straight away. Don't even think about anything else. Then if it goes through a bigger, for example, a long time ago when I was in a call center, it was being attacked. That was my first attack. I stood there, I was looking at all the screen, and guess what? Boom, 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 boom. Those were shut down. That was a very humbling experience. And because of that day, I say that, look, if it ever happened to me, I must have the capability to isolate it. So Normally, what you do here is when it happens, you have to identify, is it within that department or that floor? Okay, if there's a switch for that department, straight away you unplug the switch first. Don't worry about anything. Everybody say, hey, James, can unplug or not? Afterwards, cannot do business. I say, what happens if it affects half your organization's PC, right? Do you think you still can have business? I'd rather go ahead and unplug them, all right? Or if you are more sophisticated, if you virtualize your network by segment, you stop that virtual segment, you stop it. But there is provided if your current network is very advanced, you plan it that way. You contain by virtualization, right? Your segmentation. But if you cannot, go down to the ground, unplug. But then people say, hey, James got Wi-Fi. I say, alamak. You know what you do? You switch off the Wi-Fi switch. Okay? But then they say, if some of the desktop cannot switch off manually, right? You must do it software, right? But software cannot hack, then what happened? Close the notebook, take it out of your Wi-Fi range. Okay, so once you've done that, so that's not over. So straight away you ask for help. All right, so you activate your technical staff, their technical staff or your CERT team, ask them to come, but at the same time, don't forget, notify your organization management if it's serious enough, and then that will kick off your crisis management process. That's very important. You have to do that. But some organizations do have, some organizations do not have. Now, in parallel, what you have to do here is ensure the situation is contained and you stabilize the situation. All this, try to get it done within 2 hours or less. You have to. If not, the extent of the damage is more critical. All right, so then after that, they talk about preserving. Okay, we talk about number 6. Look at number 6. We talk about the forensics. So if there is a need to maintain the system, sorry, I'm running a bit late. This part, if it's for investigation, that means you take it, you don't do anything to it, keep it, right, so that police can investigate or your own internal forensic or auditors can come and investigate, okay? So that's very important. If you don't need any forensics whatsoever, straight away you cleanse the system. Then over time, what you do, you slowly restore it back. Like what they say, the business as usual, but in this case, you do a limited restoration. And then you continue to closely monitor the system, investigate it, right? And ultimately, they come to the point where you can actually do a full restoration bit by bit. And eventually, of course, well, it's up to your management to decide whether you communicate to the stakeholders. Stakeholders are your shareholders, your customer, or your suppliers. Okay, then of course, you know, because of the attack, that's why you have to introduce the improvement steps. So this will come later, right? And then of course you send out the advisory to the staff saying that, look, you know, certain whatever steps have been taken and it's not good and it's affecting the organization, infrastructure, things like that. So you must do that. You have to take the opportunity to educate the staff. Actually, at the same time, also educate your board of directors, your management, so that they will give you more money in future to protect your system. All right, so that's all. And just a quick one, just see what else. Of course, you have, just for, you know, CSA, CERT, they are always around. And so that's that. You have been hearing about CERT, right? So this is their website that looks like that. All right, they have FAQ. And then you also have incident response. So these are the steps. So you can take your time, go in and take a look. And of course, Go Safe Online, you heard about it this morning. So that's their website. They have a portion of SMEs. And lastly, my parting message here is this. Secure your organization the same way you secure your home, right? Protect your property and valuables. If you have doors, you know, at home you put in doors, right? Same thing, then you have safe and things like that. It's similar in your organization, so do the same thing, all right? So that's all for now. Thank you.